this story, and you've heard this before, and it goes way back, and Joe D was my client. Joe D, you might remember. And late in the year, it came in November, I had done a lot of work for this company.
Yes.
I think I'd done 10 or 11 seminars for them. They'd gone wonderfully well. And Joe calls me in November, and he says, this was just before you and I teamed up when I was the one-man band.
Yeah.
And he calls me in November and he says, Dave, I want to do one more seminar before the end of the year. And I thought, that's wonderful. It's going to be a Merry Christmas in the ZEHREN household. You know, here comes some unexpected revenue. And then he says, in the very next breath, he says, but you've got to do something for me about the price. And I was really kind of baffled because I was a one-man band. I had low overhead. I knew that all the bigger training firms I competed with charged more. On the other hand, I had done the seminar 10 or 11 times. It was like falling off a log almost. And so I was ready to cut the price. And I thought, wait, what do we teach people about objection handling? I said, before you answer this objection, and I assumed that he had run out of budget or that somebody had come along and showed him an equally appealing seminar for less than mine. And those were not bad assumptions.
Yeah.
But we teach people before you answer an objection, there's two things you ought to do first. And so I did those two things. And first I said, Joe, I always want you to be sure that you're getting full value for every dollar you spend. So I want to listen carefully and take care of this. And then I said, but tell me what's happening now? We've been doing this all year long, and now suddenly this price concern comes up. And Joe said to me, I have a meeting on Monday morning with Parker. Parker was I won't use his last name, Parker was the president of their division. And Joe said, I have a budget meeting with Parker on Monday to look at the next year's budget.
Yeah.
And we start out by looking at this year's. And he says, when Parker sees how much money I've spent with one consultant, he's going to ask me if I've pressed you for a quantity discount. And I need to be able to look him in the eye and say that I did. And I said, So now I had done two things. I told Joe that I sympathized with his concern. I said, yes, I understand you want to get full value. But I had also got him to tell me more about where this was coming from. And so I said, if we can discount everything we do for the rest of the year by 10%, I said, would that be adequate? He said, that'd be just fine. I just have to assure Parker that I got a discount from you. Well, we talked on about a few other things, and I knew he was pleased with the work that I had done. And then I said to him, Joe, this is a little awkward to mention, but it's been 2 years since we've had any kind of a fee increase, and I had planned on raising fees the first of the new year. Indeed, I wanted to talk to you about that this week. And he said, that's fine. He says, your fees are just fine. He said. So we went from me being concerned about, do I have to change my fee structure for him? I gave him a discount on one seminar out of 11 we did that year, raised the price 6 weeks later, and he was fully happy with all of that. He just needed to look his boss in the eye and say, I got a discount.
Sure.
Okay. So the model, as you know, that we recommend people use, we call the chat model, of course. And chat we use for a couple of reasons. One, it reminds people to keep this a low-key, friendly conversation. Number one, don't let it escalate. If there's any tension in the buyer's voice, don't match that because you'll escalate up. So we use the chat in that way, but the CHAT remind us, make them clarify the objection first. That's the C. Get them to tell you more about it. The H says honor it. Tell them you think that's a good issue they've raised. Then answer it. That's the A. And the T just means test. Make sure that they have heard and understood your answer and that they accept it. So CHAT, clarify it, honor it, answer it, and test. And the thing I think both of us drive home to people in the seminar, answering that objection is the third thing you need to do.
Exactly right.
It's not the first thing, it's not the second thing, it's the third thing you want to do, and you don't want to answer it until you've both clarified it and honored it.